The following podcast is fan-made and in no way associated with Steam, Valve Corporation, or your mother. Also, it contains highly explicit language, so get the fuck out if you don't want to hear it.
Alright guys, welcome to another episode of the Late Night Steamer Podcast. I am your host, Survivor4580. With me this week is DJ Pimp Daddy.
Hey kids, back again. As always.
Again. Yes.
Although I never left, so technically, I don't know if I'm back.
Well, we'll pretend like you're back. We also got Linux for Life, who's actually coming back.
I am coming back.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
Who decided that we were all too much of nerds when we were talking about Lord of the Rings to join us last week. So he's just like, screw you guys, I'm going to go drink beer and watch football. And, of course, the lovely Doom Kitten.
Hi, everybody.
And this week, we have a special guest. We got William, or we will call you Bill, Sternberg from Zeboyd Games. Say hello.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
I said your last name wrong, didn't I?
It's just pronounced Sternberg.
Okay, so I close enough.
Pretty simple.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm so used to hearing it mispronounced that it kind of just goes right by me, right over my head. So. You're good.
I believe it. All right, well, that's cool. Nonetheless, we will be calling you Bill from now on. So.
Yep, there you go. Nice and simple.
Indeed. All right, so this is episode 19. Don't ask where 18 went.
Shut up.
Recorded on August 11th of 2012. And this week's episode is brought to you by Rebecca Black, Shadows of Thursday.
Rebecca Black, Shadows of Thursday is a casual platformer puzzler strategic turn-based menu-driven FPS MMORPG that combines innovative combat with character party development and a car seat selection management system. Players take on the quest to destroy an evil mage that is frozen time on Thursday. With innovative time travel gameplay, join Rebecca and her friends as she attempts to get time reads restarted and ultimately get down to Friday. With exciting mini-games like Which Sheet Does She Take and Have the Bowl, Have the Cereal, Rebecca and her friends will surely entertain you for at least 10 minutes.
This game has a Metacritic of 2.
I heard Tenarium already has it. Let's play on this.
Yeah, that's the punchline right there. Our buddy Tenarium, who always does like the worst games ever, he would have a Let's Play on this.
The next game will be like a sequel where Rebecca Black is probably like a unicorn and she gets to like race her or something.
You know, the entire time when DJ was doing his trailer for this, I was like, is this game made by Jonathan Blow?
Oh!
just say it. Anyway.
So cruel.
I heard time traveling mechanics. I was like, oh, it's all right.
My
Anyway.
phone in the chat said, "Is best game ever. Where can I buy it?"
It's like, here's my pocketbook. Just give me the game. Anywho. All right. So if you are listening to the post recording either via Stitcher, iTunes, or on our YouTube channel, please be sure to join us on our next live stream our next live stream over at twitch.tv/late night steamer. And you can always find out when we're recording next on our calendar, which is www.latenightsteamer.com/calendar. We do live giveaways and surprise butt sex. And warning, surprise butt sex might not actually be surprise at all. In fact, it doesn't actually contain any butt sex. So, there you go. Got to get that disclaimer out. So, DJ, we're giving away some games this week, aren't we?
Yes, we are. I'm going to be smart with mine. When we get down to the dev section, my game that I'm going to be giving out goes for the best question given to Bill.
Ooh.
So, start thinking of a good question.
Nice touch.
Well done.
Well done, good sir. That's much better than numbers.
But I'm giving out a game that people either hate or love, so I'm giving out a copy of Dear Esther.
Oh, man.
So I'm trying to get more people on my side because it's a fantastic game, and you guys just put it down so hard.
All right, for the record, I never put it down. I have not played the game, therefore I will not judge it. So
I haven't played it yet.
I think I'm the one person, but I guess I speak for the group now with like Dear Esther suckage. And I'm not saying the game sucks. It's not for me. Like, I told you, I'm a plebeian and I don't understand it.
So, Scott, you're the deciding factor, so you got to play it.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Like, I got enough games on my repertoire, like, Secrets of the Magic Crystal on my belt. Do I really want to add this? Do I really? I don't know. Anyway.
I think we should see a full Let's Play on this one.
I think we should move on. Also, I'm giving away a copy in celebration of having Bill on the show. I wanted to give away 2 of the awesome RPGs that the Zeboyd. I keep saying Zeboyd for some reason. I'm so sorry. The Zeboyd has made, and that's Breath of Death as well as Cthulhu Saves the World. So, that's actually a surprise how I'm going to give that away. So, it's going to be a little bit of a oh God, what's his name? The secret word sort of thing. So, yeah, Pee Wee Herman. There we go. I don't know why I blanked on that. So sorry. Linux, what about you, man? What are you doing?
And
what are you
I'm giving away this week a bunch of heroes. Posting a link right now into the chat. It's a Flash-based tennis game. Go ahead, give it a shot. Post to our Twitter or Facebook a screenshot of your best score. You got until we get down to just before dev section, and I'll give it away just around there.
So is this in honor of the Olympics?
Yes.
This goes out to you, Serena Williams.
I love you. Now, did you pick a Flash game that was quiet? Because, see, when I did the live game, I specifically chose a game that had no music, nothing.
Yeah, no, you got the nothing part down.
No. When you go to this, I'm pretty sure it's going to blast your eardrums out.
Okay, so they'll
fantastic.
be listening to that and our podcast. Good choice.
Good job, Linux. This is why we need to talk about this stuff ahead of time. All right. Well, DJ, why don't you go ahead?
We are going to go into the steaming pile of news. Oh my God, there was a lot of news this week.
Yep.
Not only did we skip last week, episode 18, by the way, we didn't cover any games last week, but then this week, God, I think Steam was trying to punish us by coming out with, I think, like 29 new games or something crazy. No, maybe not that much, but so we're going to have a really quick mention section right here at the beginning just to get some of these out of the way, just because we just don't have time to cover them all. This week or last week, let's see, Bullet Run and Maple Story, both free-to-play games came out. They're both Windows only and have DLC available. I think we had a heated discussion about Maple Story earlier, so
oh God,
watch the trailers, make your own decision, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Depona,
and keep in mind they may be deceptive slightly.
Yeah.
Also.
Very true.
So get yourself a juice box and sit down and try that free-to-play game. Deponia is actually still on sale. That came out. It's regularly $20. It's on sale 20% off. Windows and Mac. Babel Rising. It is $10. That is Windows and Mac. And I know me and Leopard were both looking forward to that game. So watch the trailer on that one. It'll make you laugh at least. Unmechanical is on sale for 10% off, $8.99. English Country Time. That is on sale for $4.49. I'm seeing a copy of that ending up in Viper's repertoire at some point.
Oh, goodness.
Why? Why?
And lastly, Hero Academy is $5, and it is on Windows only. I do have to mention, Geek Culture Andy in chat just said Maple Story is very different from Maplethorpe Story.
Wow. And this is why we love the Geek Culture Happy Hour, folks. What of a kind.
So, yeah, that catches us up on the games that we just don't have time to talk about. So,
Indeed. So let's go ahead and move on to the games that we do actually have time to talk about. I'm actually excited to talk about this next one. MDK2 HD. Overhaul Games brings MDK2 back to the PC. Yeah, I cannot talk. Back to the PC in incredible high definition with enhanced graphics, sound, and gameplay. See the classic action platformer the way it was meant to be seen, heard, and played. On a PC! Take it, DJ. Anyway.
Shut your face.
Kurt Hectic and his snazzy suit with a ribbon chute is back to save the universe. This time, he is teamed up with the genius Dr. Missed a part. Alright, the game is $14.99 and is Windows only. The main reason why I wanted to talk about this is that this game was actually kind of a reintroduction to PC gaming for me. There was a long time I went into consoles for a while, and then I came back, and my PC kind of lacked this thing called a video card. And MDK2 is one of the games that I was able to pick up and play, and for some reason it was playable on my computer. And by playable, I mean it was lots of digitalized blobs. But nonetheless, when I got a chance to actually play this game the way it was intended to be played when I did invest in an actual video card, holy crap. Like, the insane platformer side of it, the multiple characters with all of its different abilities and such, it was a lot of fun. And when I saw that they were bringing this back with, in HD format, it was like, yes, just please, give it to me now. Just give it to me now.
Here's my wallet. Just take whatever you want.
Just take it all. Just take the whole card. I won't cancel it. Just take it.
Okay, no, is this like third-person shooter-ish, sort of just chaos multiplayer game?
Essentially, each character has its own variety of gameplay. You got the main character who's kind of like a platform shooter. I'm failing to remember the names right now. Kurt Hectic, it's on the dock. But essentially, he's got the platformer style gameplay where you can kind of use the parachute to drift from platform to platform. It's with a gun, basically. You got the doctor who has puzzle elements. It's more kind of like Cube, if you've got a chance to play that yet, which I still need to finish that LP. Shut up, Linux. Shut your mouth. But yeah, I mean, it's more puzzle-oriented gameplay, and then you have the dog, which is not in this description because it got cut off. But the dog has more of like, I want to say almost Mega Man kind of style gameplay, where it's you kind of like absorb powers and all the fun stuff. I can't remember exactly all of his gameplay, but nonetheless, it caters to the different characters that you play as. So
okay.
But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and I strongly suggest it. And for $15, I spent $50 when I bought this game. So 15 is a goddamn steal, and you need to do it now.
And
just
it's
do it
an
now.
HD.
It's fantastic. Yes, it's not in
you get
digital.
to play
blobs.
as a guy that looks like Dr. Wily. What's not to love?
Exactly.
No kidding.
Exactly.
Our next game in the bunch, we're going to cover The Political Machine 2012. I know you guys have been waiting for this.
Dying.
Do you have what it takes to be president? Play as more than 20 candidates, including Barack Obama, Mitt Romney, Rick Santorum, Ron Paul, Newt Gingrich, and create your own candidate from scratch. Players take to the campaign trail against a computer-controlled opponent or a human challenger over the internet. Oh my God. Yes. It's $10, Windows only, or, Tenarium, you could get a 4-pack for $19.95. Tenarium.
He bought the 4-pack. I hope you know that.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
he did.
We're
Why do you think he's forcing a copy down my throat?
You, not me.
You're like, decline this gift. Decline this gift.
No, yeah, pretty much. I'm all up for new and innovative gameplay. If you watch the trailer, it is kind of funny when you look at the trailer. It's got like the bobblehead kind of look to it.
This could be the next Snuggle Truck, dude. You can't judge it till you play it.
I want to bash on this game so bad, but I'm just like, Stardock really isn't that bad. I mean, I'm gonna shut up. If you guys want to say something about this, go ahead. But I'm gonna reserve.
Scott's notes that he put in the doc said, "I grew up knowing that somehow, some way, I wanted to be a professional politician. This game makes it possible. Here's my checkbook. Write any value you want on it."
Yeah. Which is funny because I wrote this before we did the show, and then all of a sudden that's been like the punchline all show now. So it's like totally watered down now. Thanks. But yeah, I think I reverbalized it to Narium and said I always wanted to be a professional liar. And this game was the way to do it. So. So there you go. If you feel like you want to be a cheap bastard in a video game, this is the game to do it.
Well, I mean,
I guess this game it's going to be. I'm a little shocked they would charge $10 for it, just because like in 2013 this game just
it's no longer relevant. It's it's on a time schedule.
DLC now.
Well, that's probably why they're selling it for $10. Is that they realized this and they knew they can't get much more out of it. So all right, we'll give you a 4-pack for like $20.
Yeah.
Have fun.
And in the chat room, Nitley one it's a remake of their 2008 game,
which he owns.
He says.
I'm so sorry. Oh my god. All right. Well, let's move on. All right. We got Awesome Knots. Let me actually put the video on. That's so fantastic. Awesome Knots. The year is 3,587. That's not a leap into the future in the slightest. No. Conflict spans the stars as huge robot armies are locked in an enduring stalemate. In their bid for galactic supremacy, they call upon the most powerful group of mercenaries in the universe, the Awesome Knots. Awesome Knots is a MOBA fitted into a form of an accessible 3-on-3 action platformer. Please, God, don't make me say that sentence again. It is $9.99 and Windows only. It also has a 3-pack for $20 if you want to gift it to your friends, and it can be bundled with the soundtrack for $11.99. So... Tenarium was begging me to get this game, like begging me, because he was talking about how he had so much fun with this. What do you think about it, DJ? You got a chance to see the trailer, right?
Yeah. I gave in just to Tenarium's enthusiasm and I purchased it, but I haven't even installed it yet. It kind of reminds me. I know it sounds stupid, but it looks like it's like a dumbed down version of Smash Brothers, like with guns. Does that make sense?
Bit, yeah.
Where you just got little tiny boards with little platforms, and it's like 3-on-3, and then we just the whole time I'm hoping to God somebody's screaming like "awesome" in the background.
Yeah. Well, you got it. It's awesome. When
like a flattened version of League of Legends.
A little bit. Yeah. When I saw this, I originally thought of Cobalt by Oxeye. It's a lot like Cobalt, but it's obviously like a different art style. But it's very similar.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, the more I think about it, it's like if Cobalt and Battletoads kinda somehow had an illegitimate child, this would be that child. Yay? Nay? No? Okay. All right.
Battletoads is so hard.
Yeah.
I'm just having flashbacks now. Thank you.
I'm having flashbacks to speeder bike levels now. Thanks.
Oh,
that was just the worst.
Oh, come on.
My therapist.
Didn't you love repeatedly smashing yourself into a wall?
My therapist
several times?
Just got me to the point where I forgive myself. But thanks for the
or even better, when you got Battletoads and Double Dragon paired together, so you guys could take two different games and smash yourself into walls. It's fantastic. All right. Anyway, we probably should move on.
Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to the dog. The chat is exploding with good chatter. So, Symphony, your music is under attack. You must liberate it. A mysterious entity is absorbing and corrupting your music before your very eyes. You must battle through your own song collection, discover items, customize your ship, and fight boss enemies to liberate the Symphony of Souls and reclaim your music. $10, Windows only. And Viper, you actually purchased this?
I pre-ordered it, actually. Ever since Beat Hazard was suggested to me, like I've really gotten to the rhythm music type games, and like Beat Hazard for me kind of felt like Asteroids, and then you have Symphony, which is kind of like Galaga in a lot of ways. It was very fun, and I'm a metal guy, so like I'm blasting Slayer through this, and I have to say that one of the greatest things about being a metalhead playing these types of games is that it's pretty challenging and it's fun. But the cool thing about the game, though, is that they start you off on the lowest difficulty until you kind of get used to the game. You start unlocking some of the different type of weaponry you can attach to your ship. They do a really good job of not having this crazy learning curve where it's just like, oh, welcome to the game. Now die! They're a lot better about than most games. So they make you kind of unlock the harder difficulties. And really, like, if you're one of those people where you have to have it hard, if you have to have it hard right away, bear with it, please, because when you actually do unlock the crazier difficulties, it is intense. It is so much fun. So, and I'm sure you could probably pop some Bob Marley on there if you really wanted to and have a lot of fun with that as well. But either way, I strongly suggest this game if you're into, using your playlist as your fuel. So.
I thought it was kind of cool. Leopard, I was asking in the forum, like, should I get it? Because I own Audio Surf, and I've played Rez, and I don't know, I love music games. I even bought Taiko Drummer a million years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. There's, like, mixed shame and proudness out of that statement. But I really like how the intro music, I don't know if any of you guys are classical music fans, but Eric Satie, the three Gymnopedies were playing in the background, which I thought was pretty neat. And then it also, all the other classical tunes, which is pretty neat. But I got to play it for like 15 minutes right before the show started. It took so long to load all my music. Like, I have at least 10,000 songs just in one folder. I'm like, I'll just do this little folder, and it's all loading. But I got to play some pretty difficult songs, and yeah, it's like very cool. I can see how this will actually have a lot of replayability. So thank you, Leopard, for gifting it to me. I'm so happy.
It is an interesting concept, sort of putting in something like a random factor like this into a game. That'd be an interesting topic we should discuss some week.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe if we had a dev on too, that'd be great.
I know.
Yeah.
How you doing, Bill?
Hey. I've never been involved in making games with random elements. That's weird.
I know.
Not like random encounters or anything.
Yeah, I mean, well, how would you be able to chime in on something like this? God.
Yeah.
By the way, Doom, I hate you.
I love you too.
You get the good games gifted to you. I
will gladly take one for the team, but no one has sent me garbage.
Then here you go. You just heard this live stream. You heard it. Doom Kitten is willing to take one for the team. Gift her a bad game now. By the way, you probably should use a better choice of words for that. We'll move on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna move on. Now that I've totally pissed off Doom Kitten. We got Orcs Must Die too. You've tossed, burned, and sliced them by the thousands. Now Orcs must die more than ever before. Grab a friend and slay orcs in untold numbers in this sequel to the 2011 AIAS Strategy Game of the Year from Robot Entertainment. Leap back into the fray as a powerful war mage or crafty sorceress. The game is $14.99 and Windows only. And I complained so much about not being gifted good games. Linux is actually going to step on my toes on this one because he actually gifted me this game. Thank you, Linux, by the way. I love you, man. You're okay. The rest of you guys, no. But no, this is one of those games I was actually looking forward to a lot because I played Orcs Must Die quite a bit. And I know DJ's like, ew, tower defense. But, it was one of those games. No, it is. And the greatest part about it is that it has enough action elements to it that even though you do have to set up certain little towers here and there, it doesn't take away so much from the gameplay. You're still very active on the map. And I really like the fact that they actually have co-op now. So it's a little closer to Dungeon Defenders in that aspect without playing kids. So it's definitely fun. And I can't wait to actually play that a little bit with you, Linux.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm sorry. I'm reading the chat window.
Oh, God.
No, I'm way up the list. Geek Culture Andy for the last song. He said he's going to kick the crap out of somebody with his Massa ABBA collection for Symphony. Okay.
I read Combs' comment, and that's what made me laugh. Combs said Bill should craft Rebecca Black the game and give it to Doom.
Ooh. Oh wow, that's perfect.
I'll do this.
Surely, I mean, we got to work with Penny Arcade. That's clearly the next logical step, right there.
Clearly.
Straight to Rebecca Black.
You can't get better than Rebecca Black, man. That's it. That's the top.
Everyone's going to be watching the Let's Play and be like, which seat did she take?
Which sheet did she, in fact, take? Yes. The suspense is killing me. Because I'm sure Zeboyd doesn't have anything better to do with their time but make Rebecca Black games.
Rebecca Black fan games from now on. That's the plan. We weren't going to reveal that until later. You know?
Well, you had to get the other games out first to get yourself to this point. So
you got to warm up to something like that.
Yeah. All right. We probably should move on.
Secret World. Or I'm sorry, The Secret World. Hidden within our own modern-day world is a secret world. A world where every myth, legend, and conspiracy theory is true. And now dark forces are on the move, and the secrets that could have remained forever buried have finally been uncovered. It is a $50 game, Windows only, and it very clearly states at the top of the Steam page that this is the base game and a 1-month subscription, and that it is required to put a credit card down to activate and play, and then by purchasing it through Steam, you get just some Steam-based DLC clothing for the game.
Yeah, well, it's an MMO. That's why.
Okay.
One of the most interesting aspects of this is that I believe these are the same guys that made, oh god, what's the name of it now? I'm blanking. Yeah. Well, I'll move back to it. But they've created a popular free-to-play MMO prior to this. So the fact that they've decided that they wanted to go into a subscription base and a time where free-to-play is really kind of starting to get some legs under it now, it's kind of interesting when you think about it. It's been a little while since they've actually released an MMO on Steam that actually does require a subscription blatantly right at the beginning like this. And the last game that I can recall was Rift. So this is interesting when you think about it. Especially coming from the fact that, that it's not a franchise per se. This is a brand spanking new IP. Mm-hmm. So to kind of take this big of a risk, that's interesting when you think about it.
Yeah,
definitely. Especially with the smashing hit of Age of Conan. And
I detect the sarcasm in your voice. I liked Age of Conan, though. I was one of the few, but I liked the Age of Conan.
I played it. I don't know. What ruined the game for me was all the people that tried to kill you as soon as you hit level 20 and got to the not so nice areas. I'm like, really? You're just gonna keep camping the spawn point? I don't like you guys anymore.
Well, that's probably because you accidentally wandered into like a town siege.
No, I played on a PvP server with my friends, and that was my first mistake.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, because I got involved in one of those town sieges once, and that took like 3 days for that to end. Yeah. It was ridiculous. I didn't play the whole 3 days,
though. Like, I don't know, all the, mythology and urban legends and myths and stuff.
Yeah.
Everything like just mushed into one game. Like, there's so many things you can do with this. Like, I'm kind of interested to see how it plays out, but I'm afraid like for its success, because Guild Wars is coming out in 2 weeks for the 3-day or head start, and they're no monthly fee. You know,
that's a very good point.
In chat, iJack saying it doesn't look like it's worth $50.
I did find very interesting
about the tennis game being tough. That and then Randark said something about humping horses. Like, wow.
Your second mistake was not humping the horses.
It's terrible. I just wanted to quickly note one of the screenshots has Cthulhu on it.
Really?
That's awesome. It's an instant purchase right there.
There you go. You have to buy everything with Cthulhu on it, guaranteed.
Yeah,
you must buy Cthulhu.
That's kind of a joke, but I have seen some games try and like sell themselves by having like a Cthulhu in a screenshot or something on certain indie games. So anyway, that's Cthulhu for you.
There you go.
He's crazy. He's a funny guy. What can I say?
He's a fun-loving.
He's a cool. Yeah.
He's just trying to be out there, man. Just trying to live.
Yeah.
Just trying to
Just
live.
trying to end the world, like any normal.
Any normal human being. Yeah. Any normal human being. God. People just don't understand him. That's the problem. Anyway, all right. What the fuck happened there? Anywho, so what do you guys think? Is this something that you would do the monthly thing, or like Doom, you say frig it and go for Guild Wars 2?
Personally, I'm gonna pass.
I gotta say,
I'd try a trial, but I can't plop down $50. I don't know.
it's
MMOs, like, they require so much time and I don't know, a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
It's just,
that I just don't have, the free time for.
I was
but
quite
go ahead,
bored
Linux.
in Lotro today.
It's tough though to get into an MMO that's subscription based at this time when there's so many coming out that are free to play too.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. On top, you got to buy the game, and then on top of that, you got to buy their downloadable content, which is probably overpriced to no end.
Well, the thing is like, how long will it take before it does go free to play? That's really kind of another question you got to put out too, because you got games like Star Wars actually just announced that they're going to go free to play, and that's a pretty big IP right there.
Yeah.
So for them to know that ultimately free to play is now getting to the point where it's becoming a more popular option, how long will it take before this game here gets to the point where it's just we have to do it. There's just no way. We have to do it because it's just not profitable to try and sell this game at $50 and slap down a monthly fee on it.
Yeah,
So.
and
My folks said if Star Wars goes free to play, this one doesn't have a chance.
he's got a point.
Yeah, well, it's going to go free to play.
Yeah.
It's already announced. I think it's actually in October when they're going to do it. So.
Aw, that's so sad. They're like, oh, okay, I guess. They're just like,
I guess we'll
slump
do
their
it.
shoulders,
You
kick
win,
a can.
Internet.
They're like, all right, guys.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's, of course, another topic for another time. So, we ready to go on to the next section?
Yeah.
All right.
You cheap bastard!
What, no reverb today?
No reverb.
No.
I'm so
I
sorry.
didn't want to blow everybody's eardrums out of the world today. Deals for games outside of Steam this week. We kind of selected none.
Kind of.
I have nothing here. Steam Weekend Madness Sale. You got Nexuiz.
Nexuiz.
Nexus.
Yeah, I think it's
Nexus.
Nexus. That's free to play. I think you can play up until Monday
it's the free
morning.
weekend.
And then you got the Kelps Anniversary Weekend, which they got a whole bunch of stuff on sale this weekend.
Sweet.
So that's about it.
Calypso, yeah. They're the ones that do the freaking Jagged Edge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or, yeah, so I think Jagged Edge isn't actually on sale this weekend, but their other games are, so. That being Tropico, and actually no, Jagged Edge is on sale. Never mind. Dungeons, Airline Tycoon. Oh my God. Riches.
Yeah, I gotta admit, Dungeons was pretty fun.
Was it?
I enjoyed it. It was just, it's not something that's like hardcore into it, but it kind of reminded me almost like of, it had that art style of like Overlord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
The concept sounded very cool. I liked it. I
got lost
at the time,
in the
I just
board
didn't
a
want
lot though. That was the problem I had. It's very you're running through the dungeon. It's very cluttery, and
Got it.
like your character gets lost behind walls, very easily. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now that we got You Cheap Bastard out of the way,
All right, I guess.
man, such a difficult topic, I'm sure.
All right, moving on to late night steamer Invades. Yeah, what happened? I missed the Tenarian thing, so who wants to brief us on that?
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take that on.
Okay.
Throw this lovely image up here. I forgot to do that earlier. There we go.
Two weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, something like that. A couple Fridays ago.
Reader's Digest version then. Reader's Digest.
Yeah. We had Tenarium tried to host a Blacklight Retribution event that was plagued with problems from the get-go. This game is one of those games, again, you download and it doesn't necessarily work right away. It crashes a lot when you try to load the game. There's a lot of different fixes out, quote unquote fixes out there on the forums. You got to kind of go through and
like deleting and re-downloading.
Like you got to delete the .dll file, and then do 5 Hail Marys, and then it might work.
Pretty much. So we all finally got into the game. Then it took us another 10, 15, 20 minutes to figure out how to join all on the same server. Like, one of us created a private server. You can't just send a Steam invite because it doesn't allow you to join the game that way. So you actually have to search for it.
Yeah, and then, what was it? The usernames are so hidden. Like, when you actually create a game, you're like, all right, so guys, I made a game. It's called such and such. All right, join my party and, get in this game. And, we're all hanging out in the lobby. And, nothing's happening. We're scrolling through, pages of, existing games that are going on. We're like, where the fuck are the names? And they're, tiny little gray text at the very end that you can't see. And you're like, oh, I think I see your name.
So the name, your username is, the smallest name possible.
Yeah, the most important thing that gives you away from everybody else. It's just the UI and the menu system is such a clusterfuck. You're like, what is going on?
And when you create a server, it doesn't allow you to change. There's a text field for custom server name. It's grayed out. It doesn't allow you to edit it. So you can't even make a custom server name.
Nope.
So then we all
chat is saying that it was almost as bad as the Age of Empires online experience. Well, at least we got the game installed. That's where the Age of Empires online went wrong. We couldn't get it installed.
But
well, Tenarium, he said his whole files were corrupt on one of his computers. He's like, hang on, I'm gonna go plug in my other computer.
Yeah, so we all get in one game, right? And Randock was hosting it, and all of a sudden his game locks up. So then
it made it fair.
Yeah.
No, it kicked us off.
No, so then
wasn't that what happened? It kicked us off
because his game locked up and his was the one hosting it. So then I hosted it.
Stupid.
Everybody gets in mine except for Randar because we were waiting for him. So we started without him, and then a minute into that, Tenarium's locks up, and then he tries to load the game again, and it tells him, "Sorry, your files are corrupted." And it's one of those games that it takes a while to download, and then it takes a while to update. So it's not like it's a quick thing.
Yeah, I joined late because I didn't update.
Yeah.
And then by the time I finally get into the game, you guys are like, "Oh, we're switching to Team Fortress 2." I'm like, "Damn it! I just got it started."
Well,
so Randark gets in for a second time.
It was a mild, success. You guys got to shoot me many times, right?
Yeah. Doomkitten and I basically killed her because it was just us two really playing.
He's just chasing me the whole time, and I'm running away.
Well, aren't you a gentleman?
She didn't even know where I was half the time. She's like, "Oh, I died."
I did. I just didn't want to use the Cheaty Bird vision thing. It's just stupid.
All right, real quick. I'll let you continue your thought, but I have to say that I'm actually going to go ahead and give my games to Randark for saying that it was almost as bad as Age of Empires. Mainly because of how much frustration we dealt with when we tried to do that on one of the free-to-play events we had. So, Randark, you got a copy of Cthulhu Saves the World and Breath of Death heading your direction, man. I'll send it to you via Steam.
Congrats,
dude.
Congrats.
Congrats. That won it for me.
My God, look at Coombs. Look at it.
I'm looking at it.
It's so amazing.
All right. Since nobody can play this tennis game, I think I got to give him my game for that.
Oh my god, that is so good.
That's incredible.
That is so good.
That is...
Well done.
If I would have just held out.
You got to download that, Scott.
Yeah.
Is that the body?
Yeah, I'll put that on the stream.
Is that Xena's body?
I think it is, actually. Wow.
Right as I say that, I get a 10.
Yeah, I know. Broke sent one in.
Can you make it to Friday?
That is genius. I'm putting that on the live
There's
stream
some
right
concept
now.
art.
I like
Coleman,
how
you got something coming your way for
There you
that.
go.
I'll figure it out, though.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, see?
Here, hang on.
This might have some legs on it, man. There you go. I just put that on the
I
stream
know, it's
now.
getting traction already. It's awesome. It's perfect.
Actually, I'll give him a game. Hang on, let me look at my inventory.
All right, cool.
Okay, all right.
Hang on, let me
Let's just
scroll
give
through all these pages of my game inventory. I'm pretty sure I
tennis
have
thing is
another
still
copy
open,
of
guys,
Train
so keep 'em
Simulator in
coming.
here.
All right.
Coleman, do you have a Train Sim 2012 yet?
Who fucking called it?
She tells you
Railworks for the win.
Dude, that is a
He
good
dishes
game.
that out like crack, man. It's just like,
Oh my god. You gotta have a hit of
The
this.
first one's free. Okay, man.
You're so evil.
I'll send you a copy of Railworks through Steam.
So to
my God.
conclude this
Too
before we get way
goodness.
too much off topic, as we already did.
yeah.
The Invade we just ended up quitting out of Blacklight Retribution because people just were crashing. Randar kept crashing, and Tenarium couldn't get his because somehow all of a sudden both machines or something were corrupted and he couldn't get on them at all. So we went to TF2, and I don't know whatever happened to DJ. By the time he got in Blacklight, we said we're going to TF2, and then I don't even think he ever joined that.
No, I
Did
joined.
you? Oh, okay.
No, because
I
I was actually, when we played TF2, I destroyed you guys. I was like, what's going
Oh,
on
that's
here?
Well,
I couldn't
That's why
figure it
Linux
out.
didn't want to remember it.
I
That's
was
exactly
the best
why.
player on the team. I'm like, I'm terrible at this game, and I was winning. And I'm like, who's
Well-
on my team? Like,
me for one, so yeah, that automatically makes you 90% better. 'cause
Yeah.
I haven't played TF2 since it came out on Orange Box, so I'm like, how do I play this game again? So I'm like, how do you build things on the engineer? And they're like, you know, hit it with your wrench. I'm like, oh, I ran out of supplies. That's so
Scott,
sad.
I wanted to screenshot it. I swear to God, for like 3 rounds, I was number 1. And the only reason I was number 1 is because Randark was in the other team, and he kept like taking like away from keyboard breaks.
That's good, man. Well, I mean, you've gotten enough practice with Team Fortress considering all of the events that we've hosted on it. So, I mean, you can only get better from, the bottom, right?
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, I've seriously only played like 6 hours of that game, and I was number 1.
Linux, all he did was fucking play the sniper, and I'd like
Yeah, that sounds about right.
run out, and I'm like, all right, Scout can outrun him, and he like, pew! Like, I quit.
Randark in chat says, I just needed more beer. Clearly, he was just doing it wrong.
Nitley
That's
points
awesome.
out that there's $2,027. Oh yeah, $2,027.97 worth of downloadable content for Railworks 3.
Hell yeah!
Oh my god.
Dude,
DLC's where it's at, man, apparently.
I'm telling you, these rail
Wow.
guys are hardcore.
Then you just go to like, what's my Steam account worth, and then like that totally pads your numbers.
Yeah, right. I tell you, if you bought during the summer sale, if you had bought the Railworks when it was like that 95% off or whatever it was, they were giving that away. Like $50 gave you like $850 worth of downloadable
DLC,
content.
yeah.
That was crazy.
Well, they did it right, man. All of their DLC, every time they come out with a new version of Railworks, their
Yep.
DLC actually carries over to the next version. So that $2,000, that's like 4 or 5 generations of DLC that's compiled.
And that $2,000 is gold,
because I mean,
baby.
once they make the model, they don't need to remake the model of the train, So
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, though.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, if you want to join us on our future invasions, which we really need to actually start updating that calendar.
Yeah.
We got one thing. It's not put on the calendar, but it's pretty sure it's happening. But another go at Blacklight Retribution, which is next Friday.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Gotta get down
9
on
p.m.
Friday.
EST as in Eastern time. And
As in Eastern time.
just to clarify things.
She says with disdain. Eastern
No,
time.
not even that. Just to avoid any confusion, because I know there's lots. And let's hope that we can get this going, and I can get killed 5,000 times.
Unfortunately, Doomkitten, I will not be there to kill you. I got a wedding that night, so I will not be there to kill you.
See, he's got more important things to do
Man,
than to shoot at you.
He gets so
go to the free bar.
What are you talking about? I'd
he
rather
gets
be
drunk
killing
on
her
our
on the game.
shows. I can't imagine him at a wedding.
Oh, God. Like, do you now take this woman to be... Oh, come on, let's fucking go! Let's go! Come on, just fucking kiss and fuck already! God!
Linux and Randark as wedding crashers. Oh,
That's perfect.
Oh, and then add Foundry. You gotta add Foundry.
Yeah.
You get him
Foundry
on
would be
there,
good.
and it's like, out of love, baby, don't hurt me.
No.
No more. Alright, anyway.
Picture all three of us sitting at one table.
Doing the nod. You gotta do the nod. Alright, anyway, we probably
I
should
guess
move
before
on
we
to
get
the
into
next.
the next section, Linux, do you want to start tallying up your tennis things, and then I guess by the end of this discussion, we can do the tennis giveaway.
We haven't got many yet, so let's just continue
jerk off.
on extending it till the end of the podcast at this point.
Okay.
Because people were having trouble getting the screenshots and figuring out how to play the game, so...
Let's not forget, though, when we reach the end of the show, though. That would be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
sad.
Unlike 2 weeks ago when DJ forgot.
Yeah.
How do we forget to give away the game? Okay.
It's so bad. Anyway.
This next section, we're going to be talking. We dedicated this whole section to picking apart Bill's brain, basically.
Culture, Andy. You gotta throw that.
Because so far we can only speculate on intentions of various companies and how they do stuff in Steam. So it's actually quite a refreshing thing to actually have an actual developer on. So I guess first off, Bill, how did you and Robert Boyd start up Zeboyd together?
Okay, well, for anybody that doesn't know, Zeboyd is a two-man team. It's just the two of us, me and Robert. So sometimes people think we're larger than that. But even with our recent Penny Arcade game, it's just the two of us. But actually, we knew each other through the Penny Arcade forums. I mean, it's just a place where we would go and talk about video game stuff. Actually, for the most part, we knew each other from a video game industry thread where it follows just industry-related news, businesses forming and falling and things that affect the industry like new consoles and Kickstarter and stuff like that. And around that time, I was making my own little side project, actually a remake of the old Atari game Adventure, just for fun and the hell of it. And I'm releasing that for free, and Robert was working on Xbox Live Indie Games, which was new at the time, and you're going to ask about this later, but he was making these choose your own adventure novels, which is kind of a weird little niche market. So he decided, I had finished my little adventure game, and I still wanted to make more games in general for fun, and I was in law school at the time, and he wanted to do something besides choose your own adventure novels, and so we got together and decided, hey, let's make an actual RPG instead of just a side novel or Atari remakes, and that's how we decided to make Breath of Death 7.
Nice. Yeah,
it's just Penny Arcade forums right there. That's where it started. It's kind of weird, but
who would have thought? That's so funny.
That's pretty awesome, really.
Yeah. Now, those two novels. I swear I did not know this about you, or about you guys making these, but it was called Epiphany in Space with an exclamation point, and Molly the Vampire. Sorry.
Zompire.
Zompire.
Yeah. It's a zombie, vampire, werewolf
choose your own adventure
combination.
Yeah, see, I'm a PlayStation guy, so I completely missed these.
I want to check those out.
Yeah.
Like, are there any plans to release those elsewhere?
Well, okay, so those are mostly the couple of things Robert actually wrote by himself before we were working together. So our first real project together was Breath of Death 7. Those are they're mostly choose your own adventure novels. So if you've ever seen or ever read one of those when you were a kid, you kind of read text, it asks you what you want to do, you pick that choice, and then the story continues with your choice.
Turn to page 12.
So, yeah, except, you click a button and it takes you to the next so-called page on the screen. Yeah, it's a neat little thing, and there's not a huge market for that.
Well,
really
obviously.
It's not. You're not gonna break sales records writing choose your own adventure novels for a game console.
That's why.
Yeah.
And Robert knows that too. I mean, he knows that too. So I think he released one or maybe both of them on an ebook format, and I think it might be free, or it might be $1. It's probably cheap, whatever it is. And he also released the source code for Molly the Were's Empire on our website. It's not a sophisticated engine, so we figured, well, let's just release it and let people make their own choose-your-own-adventure novels. It'll be cool.
There you go.
Sadly, nobody's really taken up the mantle of choose-your-own-adventure novels on Xbox. I mean, we were both shocked. We thought it was a groundbreaking idea.
You guys are pioneers, obviously.
Nobody's doing that. Yeah, clearly. You just don't understand our genius.
Well, I think
Adventure.
I think what it is that you guys did it so well that they just decided we can't top this. We can't. Even if you give us the code, I'm sorry. You got this. You got this.
It's probably true.
Yeah, my next question, it was more humorous, but I said, Robert sure likes his Where's Umpires, doesn't he?
Yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes, because he wrote, I'm trying to think, I think he wrote Molly the Were's Umpire first, and then he wrote Epiphany in Space. And he was really disappointed that Epiphany in Space sold a whole lot better. We're talking about hundreds of copies for $1 here. This is not like a gold mine, all right? But he loves like horror type stuff and zombies and stuff like that. And he was real disappointed that Molly, his character that he made up wasn't more popular than his sci-fi parody. And so we kind of brought her back into some of our newer games. So you can actually unlock her as a playable character in Cthulhu Saves the World, and you can actually battle her as a secret boss in Rainslick 3.
Nice.
Yeah, so he likes that character, and she's kind of cool. It's a quirky character or whatever, so I'm always down with, coming up with the visuals for stuff like that.
It's
So
funny.
expect to see that again. We might even make like a game just for that character. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, she should be the main boss in the Rebecca Black RPG. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
that's a good point.
We're gonna keep going back there.
Oh yeah.
Muskie in chat, she said, these kind of games remind me of the film Big. Do you remember in the intro to Big, he's playing Colossal Cave Adventure, that text adventure game?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, some people did kind of classify it as like a text adventure, but it's really more of a choose your own adventure novel. I think there's a legit text adventure on Xbox Live Indie Games. If someone is really curious, I think someone actually made one. But
cool.
I mean, we didn't. There's all kinds of stuff on Xbox Indie Games. FYI.
Yeah, there's fans for all genres of games.
Yeah.
It seems.
So if you ever feel like treading those dangerous waters, you feel free.
So, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
I guess when you guys formed Zeboyd, did you actually form it deciding that you wanted to focus on classic style RPGs?
Okay, so when we started working together, the general long view was that we were gonna make RPGs and RPG influenced games, but we started out with retro and classic style because, well, for a couple of reasons. For one, we both played this game on DS called Retro Game Challenge. I don't know if y'all heard of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you've heard of it. Yes. Only 10 people bought that game in the world, or at least in the United States. There's a game. It's like a collection of games that are kind of retro remake or like retro style, modern new made games. And one of them in there is called Guardia Quest, and it's 8-bit style. It's real short and it's got a fast pace. And we had both played that and thought that was awesome. And we also thought, there's only two of us. We haven't done this before. Let's try and take that Dragon Quest style gameplay, which hasn't really been touched or changed in the past 15 years, and try and make it try and like just give it some new ideas and make it interesting for gamers today, because we feel like there's more that you can do with some of these quote unquote retro formulas. And so that was the kind of the original idea with Breath of Death. We just played the Guardia Quest. We were Dragon Quest fans. We thought we could do more with the formula, and making an 8-bit style game is a lot easier for a 2-man team. And, you know, it's feasible. You know, we're not going to make Final Fantasy 13 style something with a 2-man team first project. So that's kind of where we started with doing this classic style and this retro presentation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do remember. I think when I was playing that DS game, I remember playing Guardia Quest. Like, I just remember grinding like far beyond what I should have played. You know, like I could have beaten the game, and I just kept grinding because I'm just like, God, I missed this. Yeah, there's still, that's the thing, and that's something we thought, we're like, you know, there's still a market for this type of game. It's just that all of the mid to large developers and publishers, they're not risking on that anymore. They're not banking, they're not really making this, not the old style of RPG. We still get smaller publishers will still release RPGs on, you know, PSP and some of the download services. And then you have the big AAA publishers with, you know, Final Fantasy 13, stuff like that. But there's still a market for these kind of, for like these Dragon Quest, you know, random encounter style RPGs where you can grind, and there's a certain, you know, formulas and stuff like that to it. And we figured with our 2-man team and our low cost and our low resources, we could at least appeal to that one niche in the market really well, and that's been kind of our general business plan, and it's worked out pretty well. Yeah. Awesome. Our next question actually comes from our chat, from Randark. He said, you've done an RPG based on Lovecraftian lore. Can we expect something based upon Edgar Allan Poe? Ooh.
Ooh. I don't know if he's joking, but that's kind of a cool idea. I mean, I'd have to brush up. Yeah, exactly. I'd have to brush up on it. But Robert and I mean, we're fans of, you know, kind of that eldritch horror-esque type theme, and then injecting humor and kind of silliness into it. And there's probably some good ideas in there. We could totally do some, or at least get some inspiration from that. So that's a pretty good idea. I don't know if we'll jump on Edgar Allan Poe specifically. That's a pretty cool suggestion.
That's awesome.
Grandak points out that it's not a joke.
Awesome. Okay. I never, you never tell. I don't know, but yeah, that's a cool suggestion. It really is.
Well, I mean, one thing I definitely love about your games personally is, and it's something that I know has made it a success in my mind, has just been that pure nostalgic feeling I get playing them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Even Muskie even asked this question. It's like, what are some of the games that you've played that have directly influenced the design style of Cthulhu Saves the World, Breath of Death?
Oh, okay. Like what games? You know, just in general, or retro game? Or
well,
like
I mean,
Super Nintendo.
I guess what games sort of influenced your design style of those two games?
Okay, so definitely Dragon Quest. That's the obvious one, and also Guardia Quest from Retro Game Challenge kind of spurred the ideas. But I would definitely say that our other influences are Earthbound, kind of that humor type thing, and we're also big. Yeah, and that's another game that people fondly remember, but there's not a whole lot out there that's like it. And then there's the Phantasy Star series we're big fans of.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Then of course, yeah, those are good. And then, of course, the Final Fantasy 16-bit games. We're still huge fans of those. I'd say Final Fantasy 4 and 6 have been a big influence. And then, as well as the Final Fantasies with their job class systems, which obviously influenced Rainslick 3. And then definitely, there's a lot of them, so I'm going on this long list. But definitely Chrono Trigger was another influence. It may not be immediately apparent, but our Unite system in Cthulhu Saves the World was influenced by Chrono Trigger's, combo character abilities. and I also get a lot of inspiration for visuals and stuff from Chrono Trigger as well.
Okay.
So that's the list. It's a giant list, but there you go.
Those fantastic games.
Oh yeah.
I know. If my research is correct, you deal specifically with the animation level design. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do all of the artwork, and then I like to say that I do the assets for our games because I don't just draw the pictures. You know, I mean, people hear, oh, he's the artist for the team, he just draws the art. Well, I do all of the, pretty much everything you see is something I created visually, but I also do the sprites and I do the maps, and if there's stuff like cutscenes, I do those too. So yeah,
you leave all the ones and zeros to Robert.
Yeah, pretty much. I will say that it helps that I am a little bit technically inclined as far as code and engines and stuff like that, because there's been certain things that we've had to figure out together to get these games to work. Okay. Gotcha. So that's been a definite advantage for a two-man team.
Has anything like specifically like influenced your art? I mean, have you always like been into just like pixel art, or have you branched out and done like other genres like you drew in high school or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
We just gotta.
For some reason, no, I don't know. For some reason, I've always jumped on pixel art stuff. I used to make mods for Doom and Duke Nukem 3D, and that was kind of, you know, low res type game. And then in high school and college, I meddled around with doing like fan game type stuff for Legend of Zelda for some reason. None of those projects ever came out, by the way. I mean, there's millions of them on the internet, and I worked on probably 5 or 6 that none of them ever came out. And it was all pixel art stuff. And then when I started working with Robert, we tried to come up with an art style that we could produce quickly with 2 people, and it was, you know, pixel art was the obvious choice, especially with the Dragon Quest influence.
Yeah.
But I will say that I am refining my high def art skills for now, just because I think that's a valuable skill, especially with, you know, the HD consoles and everybody having awesome computers. And so if we do ever do an HD game or a high res game, I'll be ready for it.
Right on.
Nice.
Yeah, I was actually.
So there you go.
Even today, I've started playing Penny Arcade Rain Slick 3, and by default, it blew up to full screen on my 27-inch, you know, Mac LED, and I'm like, whoa! I had to like sit back. Nice. I had to sort of sit back to play.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good game to sort of sit a little bit back from your monitor. I will say that. Not because I think it's ugly or anything. I mean, I drew it, so I don't think it's ugly. But
yeah, well, your face is right there.
You know, yeah, it's definitely very similar in presentation to 16-bit RPGs, and those were always kind of like a sit on the couch type game, not a stare at your monitor 5 inches away from the screen type game.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I know. I think it was even Robert. He posted an article earlier this week where it was something that Miyamoto had put about how they designed their first level last. How many times, I guess, in late development playtesting have you like had to go back and redo specific levels just because they were either just too hard or too easy?
Well, okay, so with our first 2 games, Cthulhu and Breath of Death, the map engine and the way we did maps was really kind of convoluted despite their simplicity. So we kind of I wasn't really able to redo maps with Breath of Death 7. So that's why the last dungeon was kind of a maze. In Cthulhu, yeah, I know. And we're just like, it's old school, right? So it's all right.
That's hilarious.
But I do wish I could kind of have tweaked that map a bit. And then Cthulhu Saves the World, you know, we got that feedback some. So instead of completely redoing the maps, which were a pain with our tools, we came up with these little torches that kind of show you the direction to the exit, so that you're not. So it was easier to pluck those down on the map than redo the map.
I do recall that. Yeah. Well, I guess sort of on this subject, and I don't ever get to do this ever in my life.
fuck you for some of those levels in Breath of the Dead. So, dude,
Sorry. I think there's only
I got
one
halfway
bad
through the
one,
game,
which is the
and I'm
last
just
one.
like, this is a freaking maze. I'm like, what the hell? I'm so lost. I'm like, I wanted to get out some graph paper. I mean, there was
Oh my god.
yeah, I'm seriously stuck halfway through that game, and I'm like, and I'm just crying because I've heard people say the last board is worse. And he's like, oh man.
Yeah, it's the toughest one.
I feel like I'm back in Dragon. What is it that Dragon Warrior game where they had the cave to Rowan? You know, it's like it's just like sit down for a 5-hour walk. You know.
Yeah. Well, I will say that Rain Slick 3, we figured out a way to do maps more efficiently, and I redid a number of them more than once, and I think Rain Slick 3 is way less confusing. And in fact, I don't think we've gotten I don't think we've really gotten that feedback of, oh, this such and such dungeon was a huge maze and I got lost. I don't think we've gotten that for Rain Slick 3. So the maps have definitely gotten better.
Yeah. I
So
could see the progression
look forward to that.
through the 3 games. I could definitely see the progression is improved to where you're making it more manageable. But yeah, joking aside about cussing you out, I actually do. It just goes back in the nostalgia thing where you're just like, God, I am utterly lost. This is fantastic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, some people do like kind of being lost and seeing where they can go, but ever since Breath of Death 7, I've wanted to rein that in a little bit and minimize confusion. There's a difference between being lost and exploring and feeling confused, like not knowing where you have been versus where, exploring where you haven't gone yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. People were having the problem of, oh, have I been here before or not? Rather, I want to avoid that, and so I think Rain Slick 3 does a good job of avoiding that problem.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely true.
Yeah.
Litzinarium asks, Bill, is your voice as sexy as your body? I think, did they mean that the other way around?
Yeah.
Apparently they've seen your sexy body, but
I don't
have not heard
know.
your
I mean,
voice.
you can hear my voice.
I'm confused by that, but that's the question. iJack Higgins asked, "Why
We're
did
just
you?"
gonna pass right back.
It's all no. I
You
meant
didn't even let him answer. You're just like, nah, fucker, we're gonna pass
just
right
skip
in.
those.
Move right along.
iJack Higgins asked, "Why did you decide to use Cthulhu in the game?"
Okay, so every time we start coming up with ideas for our next game, we try to come up with a really unique concept or something that will make people take notice, I guess, when they hear about it. We want people to think, oh, what is that? That sounds cool, just by the game's title or basic concept. And so we really wanted to do a game where the bad guy was forced to be a good guy, because that's funny. That'll get people laughing and talking about it. So over the course of about a week or two, we were just trying to come up with the most ridiculous and evil entity that we could to be the unwilling protagonist of the game. And so we finally settled on Cthulhu because we're both Lovecraft fans. And he's just like, he's perfect because we like horror and we like sci-fi and we like Lovecraft, and we needed this hideous, monstrous villain that just not only wants to destroy the world but drives people insane. And Cthulhu is perfect. So, plus people have actually kind of heard of Cthulhu here and there, and that gets people's attention.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there you go. That's the reason. And thinking of him saving the world is just it's just hilarious.
Well, I mean,
he would never do that.
I mean, especially with Cthulhu Saves the World, you guys all of your games are just almost famous for just the witty humor. Especially, there's so many one-liners that just pop in there. I guess, is that something that both of you like write and rewrite as you go along?
Well, Geek Culture.
Most of it is. Well, Robert does the writing for the games, and we bat around ideas along the way, just for jokes and stuff like that. But he definitely writes the dialogues and the scripts. With Rain Slick 3, it was basically this interesting collaboration between him and Tycho from Penny Arcade. So it's definitely Penny Arcade's writing, kind of structured by us, by Robert.
Gotcha.
So that's Jerry Holkin's signature writing style in the framework of the game that we put down.
Definitely. Let's see here. Battle mechanics can either make or break a game. Is that pretty much the first aspect you guys focus on when you're starting a new IP, or
yeah, or what?
Well,
were you gonna say?
I was just wondering if like when you guys sit down for a new idea, does it pretty much all spawn around the battle mechanic system?
I think it's basically we start with we either start with a general concept like we want a hero that has to say or an evil entity that wants to save the world, or we start with it'd be cool as some kind of zombie strategy RPG, and then so that just that general basic concept of something that would be interesting for us to make, since we're going to be doing it for the next 8 or 9 or 10 months. We start with that, and then definitely Robert, first thing he wants to do, or at least the first thing he's most excited to do, is come up with battle mechanics. So he takes the most joy from that process in making these games, is coming up with the battle systems and stuff.
Yeah.
So if that's the most interesting thing that people find in our games, that would probably be the reason.
Well, I mean, I know I personally appreciate the nostalgic factor as well as the updated. I mean, the general updates that I see you guys having is you always have a system where you have a full heal after each battle, so you're not constantly feeling like, oh, I can't use my magic because I got to save it because I'm going to be utterly lost in this level. Or and then another thing is just how fast paced it is, and I know even in the latest one, Rainslick 3, the visual slider at the top where you actually saw who was in charge, who was coming, in the order of attacks. That was just a fantastic addition. I mean, I just want to say that personally. That I loved that.
Thanks.
So
yeah, we definitely that idea spawned from a game called Grandia, or a series called Grandia, and we don't know why that kind of thing isn't used more in RPGs, especially like ours. I think it's really great for letting people see exactly where in time attacks are going to land and when their moves are going to come out. So, but yeah, we definitely try to make our games move quickly, and we think keeping the pace of RPGs up is something people like, as opposed to dragging them down with just slow, pointless battles and trudging across great distances to buy potions and things like that.
Yeah.
I definitely love that mechanic. That, I don't know, it's something that is really appreciated for people that kind of have time constraints and not necessarily hours and hours and hours to dedicate towards finishing a game, and being able to actually experience it all within a short amount of time, but still feel satisfied. I like that. It's short and sweet, but not too long. It's perfect, which is something I really think is awesome that you guys do.
Yeah, and I appreciate that you like that, because that's what we're going for. We don't, some people, they think, okay, every RPG has to be 80, 100, 120 hours or whatever, but there's people out there that enjoy this type of game that just don't want to sink 100+ hours into it.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of market we're going for. I mean, I'm the same way. I don't really necessarily want to spend 100 hours in some RPG.
Well,
I mean, they're fun, but sometimes it's like, well, maybe I want to play something else after 40 hours.
Exactly. Plus, how long does it take you guys to develop a game, start to finish, from idea to fruition?
It probably takes us. Cthulhu Saves the World probably took 7 or 8 months. Rainslick 3 probably took 10 months. So it's the more detail and the bigger the scope gets as far as assets go, the longer it takes, and the more stuff. Like Rainslick 3 had 13 classes. Every class was basically a whole tree system of abilities. That kind of thing. It's making it take a little bit longer each time, but the length of the game is not dependent on how much time we spent developing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could have easily made Cthulhu Saves the World an 80-hour game or a 40-hour game
with a million fights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's specifically what we're setting out to avoid. If we had thrown in the tropes, you know, yeah.
Yeah, because I noticed, like, when I was playing Breath of Death 7, it wasn't, like, every 2 squares that I went ahead, like, boss, or, you know, fight. I'm like, and, like, I played the easier mode because I just want to, you know, experience the story. That's, like, my love for games. So being able to just, like, kind of get through the fights really fast and get, like, more onto the story and the hilarious dialogue and seeing just, like, the really funny sprites was just, like, I don't know, it's really cool. Seems like that seems to be the general consensus from chat, that they also appreciate the short games.
Yeah.
That's good.
I know that there's a website I frequently call howlongtobeat.com, and that
is a great site.
I think they list most of your games sort of in the 6 to 8 hour range.
They do.
And I think in Cthulhu Saves the World, I ended up putting 11 hours into it just because I was just like, I loved it so much. I absorbed every square inch of it almost. So.
And there's the expansion that we added to it as well. If you ever go back and play that, if you haven't, there's the Cthulhu's Angels mode. It's called, which is a whole new story. It's an expansion we added when we launched on Steam, and it's a whole new story mode featuring new characters and stuff.
How did I miss that?
Nice.
So,
I
don't know, but check it out. Yeah.
An easy decision point on purchasing your games has been the price point. I know that we can only assume that making them $5 or less, you guys are seeing just impressive sales. I mean, was this an easy decision that you guys did, or was this something you did to better compete on Xbox Live before you sort of went to Steam?
Well, initially we wanted to make an impact. Like our very first game, Breath of Death, there weren't a whole lot of RPGs on Xbox Live Indie Games, and we also noticed that Xbox Live Indie Games, you essentially got more visibility with a $1 game. And so we released that as $1, and it was a huge success for Xbox Live Indie Games. And then, so going forward, you know, we went to $3 with Cthulhu because there's a lot more content, and it's a much better quality. And so when we finally got approved for Steam, it was a decision of, well, you know, first we didn't want to feel like we're arbitrarily bumping up the price just because we're on a PC platform like many developers happen to do. It's just something that we just don't get. Like, why would we do that? And we don't want to do that. So, you know, we wanted the price parity, and so to speak, because it's actually cheaper on Steam. But, you know, for a two-man team with very minimal costs in our development, we could, we could get away with it and continue to be profitable at a fairly low price. And there's not a huge market for retro-style RPGs. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that enjoyed them, and it's a nostalgia factor, but you're not going to sell 1 million copies of this. And keeping it a low or a relatively low price minimizes that, you know, that decision of whether or not I should buy it, that cost, that barrier to entry. And we didn't want people to have to think too hard on whether that not they wanted to put down $3 for the two games.
How should I put this? I guess how far did your sales like jump up when the Steam summer sale happened?
When this which Steam? You mean the most recent one?
Yeah, like with the with the Breath of Death copy of that, and then Cthulhu Saves the World. Those packed together, I guess. Did you see like I don't know, a huge like flood of revenue from that, or did it hurt it?
Do you mean just on the piece on Steam itself, or to compare to Xbox?
On Steam itself, yeah.
Okay, so well, for us, we were actually lucky, and we got to have Cthulhu Saves the World and Breath of Death combo pack featured in Steam's Halloween sale last year.
Right, I remember that.
It doesn't get as much attention as the summer sale or the holiday sale, but it's still a Steam sale, and that is a huge deal. And it was like it was, I can't contractually or whatever say exact numbers, but
No, it's just like
right.
Yeah, we saw a big
almost, thing. Yeah, we definitely got a bump that was huge enough that it was similar numbers to our launch week. I mean,
wow,
that's awesome.
It was almost like launching it a second time for those days it was in that Halloween sale.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Deal.
Yeah, and then we haven't been a big like a feature on the front page on the holiday or summer sale or anything like that. But even just being a regular part of that, unadvertised sale and discounting by 50%, we still see giant boosts. And I think it's because those summer sales and holiday sales drive so much traffic to Steam that probably every game that discounts even a little bit sees a boost.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I know we'll go ahead and mix these questions up a bit just because it's more topical. With Breath of Death 7 and Cthulhu Saves the World, they've both been $2.99, but you can buy them both for $2.99. Yep. And I know that we, as our show, every time we've ever mentioned it, we've always said, no, buy the bundle, because you're going to love them both. But I guess, has there been a reasoning behind that instead of... I mean, has it just been because you just wanted to get people to buy both games instead of purchasing them individually, or...
Okay, well, when we approached Steam, we approached it as a combo pack. Okay. We said, we applied and got in discussion with Steam on, hey, we have this fairly recent successful RPG called Cthulhu Saves the World. We think it'd be a good deal for Steam. And to sweeten the deal, we'd want to throw in Breath of Death 7. And they were totally down with that idea. So you actually can't buy them separately. There's a separate Steam page for each one. But if you try and buy one, it just links you to the combo pack for $2.99.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we wanted to sell them as we saw Breath of Death 7 at the time as kind of a kicker for the, or whatever you call it, for selling Cthulhu Saves the World. We figured that it's kind of a gamble. It's a retro style. We don't know how big the market is, so let's put Breath of Death in there to sweeten the deal. And that was a good decision, I think, because a lot of people are, it's a good deal. 2 games for $2.99.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's easily, 15, 20 hours of gameplay too, if people are looking at it from that standpoint. So, I guess are you able to comment about what you think about EA's response to the Steam holiday sales?
Right. About how they said that it cheapens the intellectual property of their franchises.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Well, here's my opinion on it. I think it's a little bit silly for them to have said that and then 2 weeks later have their own sale where they discounted some of their big franchises by 50 to 75% off on Origin. On Origin, no less. Like, why would they say that and then immediately do what they said was a bad thing not that long afterwards?
Instead that they wouldn't do with Origin.
I know, I'm glad you brought that.
They said they wouldn't do it, and then they went ahead and did
exactly.
it. And it was big games, too. I can't remember which ones offhand, but there were some big ones in there.
Well, I think Battlefield 3 was even on sale for quite a bit, too.
Maybe. I don't know if Battlefield was one of the was featured in there, but I think maybe one of the earlier Mass Effects or maybe Spore, Need for Speed series and stuff like that, and it was 50 to 75% off, stuff like that. It's exactly what Steam does during their sales, and I thought it was a little bit silly for them to say that and then turn around and do the same thing. From a developer's perspective, I think these summer and holiday sales are a great thing, and Gabe Newell will come out and tell you actual statistics on it. You can Google up some of his interviews, and it's great for developers financially, and I don't think it cheapens IP at all because it's not like a permanent discount, it's a promotional thing. And I also think that if you believe that it cheapens your IP, you don't have to submit your game to any of these summer, holiday, or Halloween sales. I mean, if you don't want to discount your games, you don't have to. So I think it's a great. I think the Steam summer holiday sales are a great thing, and I can't really think of any other developers I know that have said, "Gosh, now that we were in the holiday sale, we have to, lower the price of our games going forward because they've been devalued. Mm-hmm. Or I think these are a bad thing. I feel pressured to reduce the value of my game and lose money on this. I don't think I've ever heard that from anybody.
It's just
so there you go.
Trying to crush us. No. A couple questions.
It's just yeah.
A couple questions from chat real quick. Geek Culture Andy had asked, he appreciates the genre-specific humor that you use in your games. Is that something that comes organically with the game development, or is that a separate process?
Do you mean the jokes that we make about the genres and things like that, or what is this? What is the question asking exactly?
Genre-specific humor.
Or humor? Yeah. What is?
No.
And Andy's
I'll interpret it. I'll interpret it. It seems to be a question about the humor in general.
That out, I'll ask his other question. Is Breath of Death 7 a direct sequel to the Bill Cosby film Leonard Part 6?
Wow, I don't know what that is or what he's talking about.
We hit the hard-hitting questions
here.
Fairly.
Gotcha.
Okay, he's asking jokes about the type of game.
So jokes about RPG tropes and stuff like that?
Yeah, no,
I would presume so, yes. Poking fun at the genre as a whole.
Yeah, it just kind of comes naturally, and sometimes we'll see something. We'll try and design around things that we think are slowing down gameplay or that we think are just bothersome to the player. So sometimes we'll do that and we'll make a joke about it because we think it's funny, but other times it does come naturally, like with Breath of Death 7, for example. It was always going to be an undead RPG or an RPG about zombies and skeletons and ghosts and stuff like that. And we really wanted to make a skeleton knight the main character.
Who doesn't talk.
And but after we decided that and Robert started writing, we just kept thinking, this is funny because, RPG protagonists can't talk, and he's a skeleton. That's perfect because he doesn't have a voice box or a tongue. Yeah. And then we're like, you know what? It's funny too because he's a knight and he's like a Stalfo from Link, like the most inconsequential enemy character is the protagonist of our game. And so, sometimes we do that, and we had a sewer level, which is a little bit unfortunate because every RPG has a sewer level, and it's always a pain. And we're like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just put a joke in here about
that joke.
These freaking ridiculous ones. Ridiculous sewer maps.
He's like, we're contractually obliged to have a sewer level.
Exactly. So I'd say, a lot of it comes naturally from just the general ideas, and we'll run into something and think, you know what, that's just funny that it turned out this way, so we'll write a joke like that.
Let's
You posted a funny screenshot from Rain Slick Precipice. I don't know. Should show it on there. But dude on a walrus, 245 HP at 100% power.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta wonder what's going on with these two.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Most of the enemies in this game, I actually went through the entire catalog of Penny Arcade comics for ideas. I went through every single strip.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of enemies are straight out of the 12 some odd years of comics.
Your job sucks, man.
And no, it was fun because it's like, what am I doing for work today? I'm reading Penny Arcade. Okay. But yeah, so some of the enemies are totally ridiculous, and that walrus riding ice cream eating fat dude came out of a comic where Gabe and Taika were eating ice cream and talking about walruses or something, and we were just like, I needed more ideas for enemies, and it's like, well screw it, let's just put a guy on a walrus eating ice cream,
on a walrus.
And I'm like, he's got to be. Yeah,
I haven't played this game yet, but are there witchalocks in the game?
Okay, so there's not per se a witchlock, but do you know what the Elemenster saga is?
Yes.
It's like the competing thing that Tycho writes, I think, the competing series or whatever. The fictional series that he writes. Okay, so one of the classes is Elemenster, so you can become an Elemenster in the game as a class. So that's kind of the
that's
reference
awesome.
to that.
Well, my playthrough today, I had Tycho as a gentleman and a scholar.
Yes, that's good. That's very appropriate.
I guess a lot of our questions focus now on the Penny Arcade stuff. I guess from my research, Penny Arcade episodes 1 and 2 were actually made by Hothead Games, and they later canceled episode 3. How did your whole, how did Zeboyd get on board with Penny Arcade after that?
Okay, so you're right. Episodes 1 and 2 were by Hothead, and the entire series was officially canceled after episode 2, and it was done. It was dead. It was not ever going to be continued, and those plans were off the table. So then a few years later, Robert and I made Breath of Death. We made Cthulhu Saves the World, and Jerry and Robert Koo, from Penny Arcade, had played Breath of Death, and they kind of liked the humor. But around the same time, they had also been toying with the idea of bringing the Rain Slick series back in like an 8-bit style. They thought that would be funny, and it would kind of mesh with Penny Arcade's humor and the kind of presentation you might think for a Penny Arcade game. And sure enough, I think we were working on either Cthulhu or maybe the Cthulhu PC version, and someone in the Penny Arcade forums created a thread and said, hey, what would be really cool is if Penny Arcade had the Zeboyd guys go and make episode 3 and 4, because they make really funny RPGs, and that would be a totally cool team. And Robert posted in that thread, because that's where we met. We post on Penny Arcade forums all the time. And he said, oh yeah, that would be awesome. We'd be totally down for that, but we're not expecting that to happen. The series was canceled, but it would be totally cool with us if they did. Yeah, so a few weeks later, Robert Koo sends us an email, and we're like, holy shit! That's Robert Koo!
Oh my god, the internet did something good.
Yeah.
It's real life.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we think it does mesh pretty well, and I mean, I can go into that if you want, but the style and the writing and stuff, the writing comes out well, and I think Penny Arcade's characters and designs come out well in 16-bit art, so I think it was a good match. And they wanted to do things differently since it's a reboot of the series, essentially, and they wanted to do kind of a retro throwback game because they're fans of that, and they thought that Penny Arcade fans would be fans of that as well.
Well, that sort of throws into my next question, which was, having played, about an hour or two of both games, I thought the first 2 episodes of Penny Arcade, they definitely had their strengths and weaknesses, but it seemed like the third episode seemed like a perfect fit for what I would envision the Penny Arcade guys would have wanted, because they sort of always allude to the grand days of gaming, especially the Saturn days, I'm sorry, the Dreamcast days. Sorry, but how much of the design did they actually have into the game? Did they just give you concepts, or did they just let you guys go nuts, and then did you show them something? I mean, what?
Okay, so for Rain Slick 3, we basically had Jerry's story. It had already been published as an online chapters that you could just go and read. That was the original idea to finish off the series. Jerry was just going to put his writing up on the web. But they definitely, at some point, Jerry really wanted to see the game finished in game form. I mean, see the series finished in game form. They just didn't know how to do it until, we came up with, we got together, made Zeboyd, and started working with them. But as far as design goes, Penny Arcade was pretty much off hands as far as the game design itself. And then, so we would come up with the game design and run it by them, and, and see if they liked the ideas, and they were open to it, and they wanted us to do kind of our own thing. They put their faith and their trust in our ability to design a good game, and then we would let them play builds as they were being produced. Okay. And Jerry has a lot of ideas, and his ideas are really good, and sometimes they don't fit, or sometimes they're not reasonable ideas for the game, but he's really enthusiastic about it. And so, even though he wasn't directly in control of the game design, a lot of the stuff that he wanted to do, we were like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let us definitely do that, because it is feasible. So the game design and the mechanics, were ours, but a lot of the quirky stuff you see in the game either came from Jerry or kind of an idea that bounced back and forth between Jerry Holkins, Tycho, and us. And but yeah, otherwise they were hands off, and we did a lot of playtesting with them and with a lot of the people they know from organizing PAX, and we incorporated a lot of feedback. But general game design was all us.
Nice. I guess at first I was a little confused, but I did actually later enjoy the very simple overworld of Rainslick 3. Mm-hmm. I guess what was the motives for the structure design of that? Basically a question like forcing a branching path, what you have, versus like a free roaming like your previous games.
Okay, so that came about in an interesting way. We kind of went through a few iterations of game design for maps. We wanted to minimize confusion in maps generally. Like in the very last level of Breath of Death 7, everybody gets lost, confusing, gets frustrating. So, yeah, and we wanted to come up with a way to make maps easier or more manageable to produce in case we needed to change them. So we came up with that sort of Super Mario World style node and path system. And we thought maybe we would use that for the overworld and possibly the dungeons as well. But we decided we didn't really want to take that control away from characters take the control of characters from players throughout the entire game. So we decided that given that the story was written and, we wanted to make sure people went from, through the events in the certain sequential order, we thought it would be kind of a neat throwback, but also keep the gameplay focused on, entering dungeons and going through the different battles and choosing their class system loadout and stuff like that without having to worry about trekking back and forth across this giant world in between the story and doing these things.
Yeah.
So we kind of took that original concept and applied it to the overworld, but kept the player on a sort of free roaming map system for dungeons. And I think it worked out pretty good and we were pretty happy with it. But in our going forward, we might decide to just open up the overworld and come up with interesting ways and things to do in the overworld besides go from point A to B to C to D.
Yeah, I love that feature. I mean, but at first it truly, I was like, what? Because after playing your other games, I was just, it just sort of, it was a clash, I guess, against what you had been doing. So,
right.
I guess, do you, this is more of a personal question, do you have a favorite Penny Arcade comic?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, man, I mean, I looked through all of them. There's so freaking many of them. And a lot of the Penny Arcade comics are topical to some point in time, They'll be making fun of John Romero because of something he said at Ion Storm. It's like, what? When was Ion Storm? Are they even around? So, no, my favorite comics are weird because they're not really topical, I guess. One of my favorite ones is it's called the Brudax Imperiate, and it's the one where Gabe is playing some like puzzle game. I don't even remember, some kind of game. And Tycho comes up to him, seeing him playing this, and he's asking him, sarcastically, okay, who are you and what did you do with Gabe? And then this alien, hideous monster just bursts out of his skin and says, we are Brudax. We are here to feast on your flesh. And Tycho's just like, I was joking then when I said that. And then the Brudax is like, we were joking too. Just go back to your daily routine. Nothing to see here. So just nice. Completely ridiculous, alien thing. And so it was fun putting those in the Rains. They're actually in Rainslick 3 as an enemy. So they're one of my favorite, like, totally random characters to pop up in the series. Mm-hmm. The Brudax.
Geek Culture Andy asks, there seems to be a lot of tiny game shops prospering. Zeboyd, 2D Boy, Toge Productions, Priest and Scott from Kixeye. Is the micro developer going to be the new way forward of gaming innovation?
I think that there's still room for innovation from bigger companies, but I mean, obviously, when you've got, he called them, I guess, micro developers, where there's 1 to 2 to 3 man teams, there's a lot less risk financial risk involved. I mean, there's not, you don't put 20 to 30 to 40 million dollars on the line or more on a 1 to 2 man team game. So yeah, you have the luxury, indie developers have the luxury to experiment with totally oddball stuff. And so you end up with things like Dear Esther, which may be a hit for some people and may not be for others.
I like how you put
from
that.
what I understand. Yeah, but then again, you might take an indie developer 1, 2, 3, 10 tries of just totally unique ideas that never really catch on before they end up with this giant hit like Braid, which catches on with a lot of people, or World of Goo from 2D Boy, which catches on with millions of players. So do I think it will drive innovation in the future? I think it will drive innovation in the sense that the digital distribution channels are making it easier for good games by small teams to get out there. But I still think there's room for the larger developers and publishers to innovate. It's just, they definitely are inclined to be risk averse, especially with the increasing power of consoles and hardware and increasing production values and things like that. So I don't know if that answered the question, but that's what I think about it.
You're not risking an entire company. You're just risking your house,
Yeah.
and your sanity.
Well, I mean, it just, yeah, it
your
just
marriage.
depends. I mean, right, for some people it is. But, I mean, there's, I guess I want to make the point that small team indie development allows for this weird creativity and, freedom and stuff. And iOS and Steam and things like that allow for those types of games to flourish. But there's also a lot of attempts at innovation that just don't work out, but you never really hear about them. And I say that because I've talked to many developers who, or people that wanted to get into development, and they just, they need to know that you're not going to necessarily come up with the next, Braid or the next World of Goo. It's your first game is not necessarily going to make you, extremely successful. It's not easy, and I always keep that in mind when we're making games, that we have our fans to thank, and we have guys like you that interview us and tell people about our game, because we could have very well ended up like many developers that release a game and they sell 100 copies and then they never do it again because there's no business in it for them.
Yeah, I know, coming from before this, Scott and I met up because we were huge into Minecraft. I don't know how many times on both of our Minecraft podcasts we heard kids in their I guess junior high school range, they were just like, oh, I'm totally gonna start taking Java programming.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna make the next Minecraft. I was like, good luck with that, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Send me a copy when you're done.
Even Robert and even Robert and I was still in law school, and I finished and got my degree and have my license and worked as a lawyer before I stopped to do Zeboyd full time. And Robert was a teacher while we made, I think, our first two games as well.
Wow.
We didn't want to, we knew that it could have ended up not being a success, and we didn't want to risk our livelihood, necessarily our livelihoods and our families if it didn't work out. So we kind of kept our day jobs until it was successful enough that we could do it full time.
Definitely.
So we're very fortunate that it turned out that way.
Well, that's good. I guess, are you able to comment on any future projects? I remember reading somewhere whispers of Rainslick 4 somewhere. I know Robert's tweeting constantly about something about a zombie RPG.
Yeah.
So
Right. Okay, I can say that Rainslick 4 is going to be done. That's the fourth and final game in the series, and we, Zeboyd, are going to do it. And there's even a little slot on Rainslick.com that says 4. So, I mean, it's not a secret, and we're going to be doing it. So, I mean, feel free to tell people that. There's going to be a Rainslick 4. As for the zombie RPG, we just like, Robert and I, especially Robert, we just like to brainstorm ideas here and there just because it's fun. And a lot of times our ideas that we brainstorm end up becoming, in some form or fashion, a game later on down the line. So maybe that will come out between now and who knows, maybe Rainslick 4 will definitely be our next project, or at least the next thing we're working on. but maybe the zombie RPG will be the next one, or something that came from that idea.
Yeah. I get the impression that he's socially whiteboarding, you know? He's like, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess the last question
Pretty
is,
much.
What's on your desk in front of you right now?
Okay, so, well, I have my drawing tablet,
Awesome.
which is a lot of fun. It's not a very good one. I've been looking for newer ones. And I've got my stack of random hard drives from past computers that I'm always telling myself I'm going to download the data and back it up, but I never do, so those are just going to sit there.
We all got that box.
And I've, just all these hard drives. I don't even know what's on them anymore. And I've got about 6 empty cans of Diet Coke, because I subsist on that stuff.
Wow.
That's funny.
So there you go.
Geek Culture Happy Hour says, please say vodka.
Oh, God. No. I wait until the good appropriate occasions.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, that was very insightful. I was just in awe. That's why I was silent the majority of the time, because that was awesome, man.
Cool.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
It's fun.
All right. Well then,
Bill,
Doom.
someone wants to know if you have a fan page on Facebook.
Yeah, Zeboyd Games has a Facebook page. I think it's just facebook.com/Zeboyd Games.
Right on.
So you can check that out when we post random stuff there, articles or news, or sometimes I post artwork and things like that. So
Indeed.
Yeah.
Me and Doom
I'm
had
the
same
faster
idea.
typer. Oh yeah.
Well, I showed up first on my screen, so fuck you. Nonetheless, Doom, why don't you go ahead and kick us off in the next section?
We're actually having a next section. All right, cool.
We're actually having
Yeah. This show goes forward, believe it or not.
New school, old school. Viper, since you've been so quiet.
I know, God, I'm
what-
such a
what-
jerk. How dare I let the guest talk? I'll go ahead and go first. I've been playing Symphony, as we alluded earlier on. I've been having tons of fun with that, especially putting metal on there and just going through the mind-numbingly increased difficulty. Also, since we kind of broke the mold a little bit this week, I've also been playing Mass Effect 3 a lot because they've been releasing a couple new DLCs for that.
Yay.
Love that. And I know I'm going to get flack for this. I know, Linux, shut your face. I've also been playing World of Warcraft.
Yep.
I've been,
That's why you
leveling.
Lotro.
Yep.
I've been leveling an undead priest on another server, and I've been having a lot
He's
of fun
getting
with
sucked
it, so.
right back in.
I'm getting on the wagon. I know.
He never left. What are you talking about?
Next thing you know, he's gonna.
What are you
next
talking
thing you know,
about?
he's gonna say,
Folks
"I'm
in
moving
chat,
back
we're
in
looking
with
for
my
a
parents."
fourth host now.
Must be keen on doing the live stream and tolerating Linux's crap. TJ, go next, please. God, go
I've been
next.
still playing some more Modern Warfare, the campaign, because guys, I hate the
Because you're
multiplayer.
a sissy. Yeah.
I've been trying to finish up Breath of Death before this podcast, but god damn it, I'm freaking stuck. I finally made it past this level where I was hopelessly lost, and then I got just destroyed like 3 times in a row by the final boss. So, but I'm still loving it. I'm still not gonna pussy down the level or the easy meter there yet. So. And then, of course, because of my other forum I'm on, the Bee and Barb, I've been playing the hell out of some Oblivion recently. So
Nice.
just killing some mud crabs. You know how it is.
Nice.
Right down. Linux.
So I've been playing some Hero Academy. Just came out on the PC. I've been playing it on my iPhone for quite a while though. Orcs Must Die 2. I played just a little bit at a friend's house, and then I bought it this morning when I got home.
Nice.
And then played some a little bit of TF2 this week, and a little bit of Minecraft this week, in between like doing everything else.
All right. Bill, how about you? What have you been playing?
Okay, I've been playing weird stuff. I've been playing those vertical bullet hell shoot 'em ups that came out, the Exceed series. So that's fun. I'm a shoot 'em up fan, but I'm not a connoisseur on it. And I've also been trying to catch up on Mass Effect 3 as well. I just got it a few weeks ago, and I've also been playing that game you mentioned earlier called Nexuiz. It's like a combo between or it's like some weird love child of Unreal Tournament and Quake 3, and that's kind of right up my alley. So I've been playing that too. Yeah.
You just
it's
mentioned
only like $2 right now.
You just mentioned 2 games that dominated my freaking teenage life for a while. So
Yep.
I think I'm probably gonna load that up tonight now. So
yeah, it's freaky.
Got him to stop playing.
It runs on the
yeah. Well,
yeah.
Hey, I'm pretty good about my addiction, bastards.
Thank you, Bill Sternberg.
You saved our host.
Probably not.
For a time. I played just new games. Since Leopard gave me Symphony, I played that like right before the show started, and I like it so far. I'm going to play more after this is over. I was participating in the Guild Wars stress tests, which are surprisingly fairly playable. I haven't really noticed like as much lag as like everyone else has been, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Old games, yeah. Breath of Death 7. Looking forward to finishing that up.
Nice.
So,
Well,
I don't know. Why don't you take us off to the shady URL of the week?
All right. This week we did Zeboyd.com, and we got enriched uranium supply pin pusher. That is a very interesting URL.
I like how you said pusher. It says Fisher.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Learn to read.
Yeah, we have that problem.
We know
have
that
that problem every
reading
time.
comprehension isn't his strong
Every
suit,
time we come to
so-
this section, every week I have that issue, don't we?
You struggle. I know. We should just like give you clip notes in the beginning and like make it in size 72 font, so that way there's no chance in hell.
We could give him a phonics version of it. Why don't we do that? I think that is a great solution.
Just do, yeah.
Yeah, Bill, we started doing this back in the Minecraft days, and it just stuck. And now every single week we pick a different website, and we make it look terrifying. So that's a legitimate link. You can go to your website through it. So
Yeah. I clicked on it. That's pretty funny.
I did click on it.
Start tweeting that.
But what it is it just randomly generates it. So we didn't actually make it, but
It's like a short URL for trolls, basically. Except it's not really a short URL.
Hey, and before we get to the end of the podcast, I want to give away my game here.
Okay.
I had 2 entries total, and I'm guessing those are the only 2 people that could actually play the game. A lot of people were commenting that they couldn't even hit the ball over the net, so interesting.
Well, I mean, we went from like the dress up paper dolls game to that. Like, no
they
one
actually
got
to do work.
I gotta earn this. What the hell, man?
We had Ijack Higgins, who had a score of 2 to nothing, 3 to 1, 3 to 2, and then we had B Bruins 99, who had a score of 2 to nothing, 3 to 1, and 2 to nothing. So B Bruins wins this week.
Well, there you go. Congratulations,
bunch
Bruins.
of heroes.
We need like a sad effect of like, I don't know, those party favors going on.
We can always do it ourselves, be active hosts. That'd be fantastic.
I think I have to give away my copy of your Esther to
okay.
As far as the best questions presented, I gotta give it again to Geek Culture Andy. It's some
hard-hitting journalist.
Yeah, he had some fantastic questions. So, congrats, Geek.
I love Coom.
Jack Higgins just screamed, "God damn it!"
Who was it that got the copy of Railworks again? I gotta write that down before I forget.
Oh, the guy that gave us the Rebecca Black
come
RPG
on,
one. I think it was
Kuman.
Koom.
Yeah,
Kuman.
Okay.
Yeah, Kuman. Okay.
Okay.
He's like, what the hell? You're all mispronouncing my name. I do love it, though. He earlier said, as far as our sound effect for whenever they win a game, we should do the Zelda sound effect. So there you go. Hold it up triumphantly. Hold it up triumphantly. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
Topic.
What? we're gonna move on to the last.
Oh my god! Every week.
What the hell was
Every
that?
freaking week, dude.
No. The Rebecca Black RPG mentions are done. We're done with it. We're gonna move on.
It's really weird, like that song came on and stuff, because like I smell weed outside of like my window.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we're passing the 2-hour mark. Let's go forward here, especially because this topic might kind of cause a little discussion here. RPG fans, do you think it is possible to make a menu-driven, turn-based RPG that is multiplayer? Imagine something like Cthulhu Saves the World with multiplayer. Can this ever work? Now, Bill, since we have you on the show, let's actually go ahead and kick this off to you first, because you probably have the best experience out of all of us on this topic. So, why don't we go ahead and get your opinion on this first?
Okay, so I thought about that question a little bit, and there have been turn-based RPGs in the past that did multiplayer, or at least attempted it. And I didn't go through the entire list of everything, but the best example I could think of is Pokemon, which a lot of people sort of forget that is an RPG, but it actually really is. Mm-hmm. And of course, that one is achieved by basically letting players battle against each other, and their Pokemon kind of act as party members. And in that sense, it's one player's battle against another, so it doesn't really change a whole lot about the RPG. But is it possible to do something like a cooperative menu-driven multiplayer? So far, a lot of attempts at that have been kind of a thing where the second player can control a party member during battle, and it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
It's a lot like if you were playing Final Fantasy VI or something, and okay, now that it's, the second character in your party's turn, you hand the controller to your friend, and he picks the action. I mean, that's kind of pointless and kind kind
hate controller swapping. Yeah. It's the worst.
Right.
Well, I know I was excited to hear...
Sweaty hands.
I was excited to hear that they at least attempted something like this in Dragon Quest 9 on the DS, but my problem is I can't find anybody else in Cincinnati that plays that game.
Right. Well, that game is more of an action-oriented game, isn't it? Or maybe I'm confusing it. So, the action-based RPGs, it's fairly simple. Give the party members to different players because they get to control them and do the attacks and stuff like that. But for a menu-based RPG, even if you gave control to more than one person, they're still essentially just picking an action out of a menu, and you're not really going to take the control out of someone's a player's hands when they're going around the overworld. Mm-hmm. I suppose it could work in kind of a weird split screen or network multiplayer kind of fashion if the two players, and it's not very story intensive, and the two players are kind of working together for some common goal and having their own separate battles. But even then, it's like the cooperative aspect or the multiplayer aspect is tenuous. It wouldn't be very, very well tied together between the two players. It'd be kind of like, okay, I played the game, you played the game, okay, now let's share notes on what happened, kind of thing. So I don't know. It would be fun. It would be kind of fun to come up with a design for that, but I haven't really thought too much on it yet.
Yeah, because
it's funny because I was kind of thinking about it and talking it over with my boyfriend, and he's like seeing if he could even come up with things because I'm just like I hate the idea of it because once you are out of a fight, it's always one person. The party is clumped into that one person. You're exploring the world,
mm-hmm.
but I was like, well, what if there's there's mini games or something? Each person goes off on separate mm-hmm. Ways that they and have to pull together for a common goal or something.
Have you played the super? What are they called? Mario and Luigi RPGs on the DS?
I haven't. No.
Okay, well, in that game, they try to leverage the two DS screens by having Luigi do one thing in one part of the level that affects something that Mario does in the other part of the level, and you switch between back and forth the two Mario brothers to solve puzzles. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know, maybe they could create an RPG like that, but instead of having the player switch between the top and bottom screen, they have player one control the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, split screen. Yeah.
Split screen, or even if it's on one screen, you might be able to split puzzles and things between the two players. They have to work together to solve it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you just said...
with Mario Party games.
Yeah. Well, no, not like that. But no, what you just said, that sounds very similar to a game that I played on the DS, actually, called The World Ends With You, And they had that same
Okay.
style of gameplay where, you know, you ultimately had like an NPC on the top screen that was doing their thing and you're doing your thing. And ultimately you guys shared health. So ultimately the success relied on both of you cooperatively working well together, even though you're working with an NPC.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see how something like that would slightly work in that sense if you're actually having a second player control that. But again, I mean, that still seems to kind of stray away from the menu-driven aspect that we were ultimately talking about. My experiences with this topic relies on something called Beyond, which is a kind of a do-it-yourself sandbox system that has been in existence for a while. And it's a lot of community-driven games. There's really, you know, there's no major developed games on there, and a lot of it's totally breaking copyright. But they've had a few instances, like you were mentioning earlier, where ultimately the multiplayer aspect of it is that you would form a party with these random players, and then once you formed your party, you would then adventure into like almost like a World of Warcraft like instance, and your main party leader would ultimately determine where you guys go. And then once you got into an actual battle, you decided your attacks and then moved forward. And then as you level up, you adjust your skills to your playstyle or your class. So in that instance, it kind of works, but the problem is that in between battles, you have that one guy who's guiding you all along. So, I mean, that always seems to be kind of the issue there, is how do you make the entire gameplay completely multiplayer versus kind of having where you have a party leader per se, because you can't do that style.
Growing up, I don't know how many times I would spend just entire nights just sitting up in front of the TV, just grinding through, like, you know, Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior 3 or 4, and I always imagined how funny it would be if, you know, how the guys always followed you around in a line. No matter which way you hid, they always just followed you like a train. If just suddenly the pilgrim was like, you know what, fuck you guys, and we're the other direction. But I mean, that would be just fantastic if somebody could pull that off. But yeah, it's it's just
there's got to be a way to do it. It hasn't really been.
That's
tackled,
the problem with being
guess.
a huge fan of the Dragon Quest series, is you're forever alone. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless it turns into something that's not pure Dragon Quest, you know, and becomes action based.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
at least when
it's not the same thing. Then.
Secret of Mana and Secret Evermore came out, you know, those are more action based. But that was the first time where my brother and I could actually play together. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Like, he was always the dog.
But then, you know, right. Yeah, no, it was great. It was fun. Playing with brother too, we played it, and you know, it was fun. But you're right, it's action, and that makes it easier. And when it's menu based, it's how do you get multiple people playing if you're essentially picking actions from a menu?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, that would be fun to come up with stuff.
A couple things from chat. Nilty asks, or he says, is that like the new Wanderlust game? Wanderlust is action-based, from what I understand, so it's not menu-driven. Randark says, to me, a menu-driven turn-based RPG is D&D. The problem is that video games need to show combat and have less description. This makes it boring for the player waiting for their turn. Now, while you guys have been talking about this, I also had a thought. There was a game that I was playing on 360 called Enchanted Arms, and that's a turn-based menu-driven RPG. And what they did with their battle system, and I know there's other games that's done this too, is that there was a battlefield. You ultimately had to move your characters into certain squares, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics. I could see how, in a battle sense, you could probably do that, where you're controlling your character, but ultimately, you know, each person kind of moves their character where they need to cast their spells. You can be on like either a Mumble or a Vent, or if you're on Xbox Live, and kind of communicate with each other. Okay, hey, maybe you should go over there and cast this, and cooperatively work together. And since it's turn-based, you could still kind of have it where speed plays a factor on who actually gets to move when. So that would kind of fix that issue. But again, it still kind of boils down to how do you do world exploration. Right. So.
And that's also sort of pouring into the strategy RPG genre. And,
yeah, true.
You know, it wouldn't be a pure, you know, what people think of when they think of a turn-based game like Dragon Quest. It becomes more like a strategy RPG.
Very true.
Which would still be awesome, but you know, it would be hard to think of a pure, you know, party, you know, 4-party type thing, or 4-character type thing in your party menu-based thing.
No, completely true. So. Well, I think I've pretty much exhausted this topic.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything to say before we go ahead and move on?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's just like
That's the
I don't
bottom
know.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
difficult to find a game that's like has all these elements that isn't going to suck.
Yeah.
All my hopes and dreams are crushed. I guess I'll just I'll fade into the west and remain the
There you go.
Oh my god!
Wow. That's pretty damn emo. All right. So our discussion next week is Steam to sell creativity. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try this again. Steam to sell creativity and productivity software now available in their stores. While this seems to like a fantastic idea for small developers, do you think mid to enterprise level developers will embrace it? So we're going to talk about Steam selling software next
Let me
week.
correct you a little bit, though. It's not available in the store yet. That
Well,
store doesn't.
they're going to.
Yeah, it doesn't launch till September at some point.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I get for reading it verbatim. So whoever typed this, fuck you.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's
I was
how I'm
typing
going
this
to
at work,
pass
I'm like,
the buck.
There's no way Microsoft's ever going to sell Office on Steam. I'm just like,
I don't know if I would
exactly
ever
what I was
buy
thinking when I
Office
wrote
on
that.
Steam.
Well,
I don't think I
not
would
with
ever invest
Office
in it.
365 coming, so.
I
or
bought
360, whatever
Photoshop
it is.
through Steam.
That's a possibility.
Oh man, yeah, and it was only it was on sale, 25% off at $750.
Adobe selling Flash through Steam. Sorry, Mac guys, you can't get that either.
All right.
Flash is a dying breed. You don't need it.
So, Bill, since we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode, why don't you go ahead and tell our fantastic fans where they can find you and all of your wonderful glory.
Okay, well, you can always go to zeboyd.com, our website, and if you want to follow us on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/Zeboyd Games. And we are also on Twitter. My Twitter account is Bill_at, as an AT, _Zeboyd. And you can also check out the Rainslick Games website, which is just rainslick.com.
Awesome.
All right.
Excellent.
Very awesome. Thank you very much for coming on the show, man.
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
been
an
fun.
absolute pleasure. I hope you had fun. So,
Yeah, definitely.
rockin'. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Remember to check out our website at www.latenightsteamer.com to find out when our next live stream is. I believe we're doing a Sunday show again next week. aren't we?
Correct.
Oh, God.
So
All
someone
right.
tell Fondre's
that-
wife not to drunken dial me on
Yeah.
Saturday. Like, where's going to do the show?
Yeah, I believe it's August 19th at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Eastern Time.
Shut up.
What's that, DJ? Eastern Time. All right, so let's get the hell out of here. Thank you guys so much for coming. I love you guys in chat. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.